Good morning. Just wanted to thank the players one last time for the offseason. That's what I did when I brought them up for the final call up there. And we're squared away there. The training camp schedule will be coming out here shortly. So just, in the next day or two. So we should be squared away with that. Just finalizing some last minute details. So that'll be, we'll shoot that out shortly. But just to let you guys know. With that, I'll open up the questions.
Last year you went in, at this time, you were kind of looking for the best five on the offensive line. This year, it seems like you're very set, whether it's your call or Chris Morgan's. I mean, you got your five guys, Cody is the center, Darnell Wright doesn't have to beat anybody out, or he's how much of that is by design, how much of a benefit is that to be where you are now as opposed to where you were previously with the offensive line?
Yeah, it's just continuity. It's beneficial to have that. And it's important that guys work together, so they get the calls down. And certainly you got to have guys that flex inside and out, which, Lucas does that. And, we'll have to figure out who was going to be flexing outside for us as we go through this. But it's great. It's much better to have continuity on the offensive line.
What stood out to you in the red zone drills today?
We weren't rushing, so it was, the rush wasn't there because it was what we call, we have a tempo where we tempo up front. So it's a little bit more like 7-on-7. But we had the front in there today, but it was good. It was good. I thought it was nice. I thought Justin went through his reads and went through his progressions nicely and, hit some good routes in the corners and in the front pylons. And it was good.
You said with him and with Justin in the red zone that's an area you still anticipate tapping into his rushing ability. But for him as a passer, what do you want to see him get better at inside the 20?
Yeah, that's just those are tight throws. Inside there, the closer you get, the tighter the throws are. So, you got to put them low and away sometimes. Sometimes you got to put them high and outside. So it's really important. The accuracy down there is so important, and being on the same page with the receivers, because it's Bobby and Cole and Clay and all the big receivers that we have. Those guys are very valuable targets down there because they're always open because they can use their body to stay open. So that's what we need to work on still.
Cole Kmet had a nice catch. Cole Kmet had a nice catch in the back of the end zone during those drills too. I mean, we've seen that before, but how important is that to ramp that up even more this year in terms of Kmet?
Yeah, those are always scoring opportunities, so we always put time and attention to the red zone, more than you would, based on the play number that you get down there. You don't get that many plays down there in a tight red zone area, but we do pay a lot of time and attention to it as we do third downs, third down, fourth downs. Obviously, those are critical downs, and we'll continue to do that, during the course of training camp and as we get to the season.
Coach, a couple weeks ago. How much different, Matt, how much different is everything at this point this year than it was a year ago at this time? I mean, you just talked about kind of having starters more set. Everybody kind of knows your system. There's been a talent upgrade, it appears. Can you explain the difference in how you're feeling going into,
Yeah, it's like anything, when I became the defensive coordinator at Missouri and I was 29 years old, the second year was better than the first year, and then it kept getting better and we kept adding talent. And the same thing when I became the coordinator at the Colts, same thing. You get more comfortable in the position, you know how to flex a little bit better. You're more comfortable with the coaches are more comfortable with the players. It's just the second time through it. But, we also added a lot of players this year too, so we got a lot of new guys that are new to the system. The rookies are new to the system. All the guys that we, acquired during the offseason are new to the system. So we still have a lot of work to do.
Is your comfort level different because now you've been through a year as a head coach too?
Yeah, sure. It's just like I said, it's the second time through it. You remember your first time writing articles and stuff, right? You're like, man, probably some misspellings in there, right? No?
No.
Are you sure? Can we fact check that?
That was good from the jump.
All right, Jay.
So that should apply to Justin as well, right? Second year in the offense should be.
Absolutely. There's no teacher like experience. There just isn't. You can talk about it all you want. You want to swing the golf club, you can talk about it till you're blue in the face, until you actually take a lesson and learn how to grip the club, take a stance and swing at it. It's nothing like experience, in anything you do.
Yesterday, Tevin said that Justin's kind of carrying himself like a veteran, like he notices his maturity. Where do you notice that as well, just in this moment that you guys have had?
Yeah, I just see leadership. He's always the hardest worker. He's always the first guy out, last to leave. He's always done that. But now I can see that because his confidence is growing, he is taking that to a different level in terms of being a vocal leader and talking to guys and being able to bring guys together and then crossing the aisle. We really don't have an aisle here at the Bears. We're all Chicago Bears, so it's important that he's working with the defensive guys and talking to those guys. And, those guys all respect him because of his work ethic, and now he's starting to be more vocal. So that's pretty neat to watch.
A couple weeks ago, you were saying that you would rather have that other cornerback spot solidified sooner rather than later. What has Tyreek done to allow him to ascend to the top of that depth chart, and what does he need to do to stay there?
Yeah, just keep competing. Keep competing. We love where he is in terms of his length, his competitiveness, and we know he tackles. So he likes to hit. So that's why he's here. Corners need to tackle. They need to really be a physical force out there, and he's going to do that. And we're excited about that, getting the pads on. So I think he'll take even a step up more when we get the pads on. We get to see him use those pads.
What do you feel? Specific fundamentals that you want Justin working on and to have sharper when training camps start?
Much of the same. Much of the same. Just keep increasing the footwork, his platform, the timing, his release, the reads. That's going to be a little bit hard to do during the summertime because he's not going to have a full group out there per se. But yeah, just that.
Matt, as you guys send them off to the summer break, if you will, do you have any specific messaging or talking points, things for these guys to think about?
Sure. Yeah, we always do. Obviously we're working with them the whole time. It's individualized plan basically. So Salazar, director of performance, Jimmy, our strength and conditioning coach, nutritionist, they all have a plan. Each individual guy has a plan, and they're all have set weights and body fats that they have to come back at. And we always talk about the floor. So where the floor is, they want to raise that floor up in terms of their conditioning so they don't have to so the arc angle doesn't have to be as high. So if I start down here, man, it's going to be harder for me to get to where I want to go. We want to raise the floor up so the arc angle is not as steep. And when it's too steep at times, you get soft tissue and those types of things. So we had a good meeting this morning about that. Just, those were our talking points.
When you fast forward ahead to training camp and the preseason, what do you hope to squeeze out of crossover practices when that opportunity is afforded to you?
Yeah, it's exciting to be able to do that. We've done them in the past. There's a lot of good work during those crossovers. The one-on-ones are really cool to do, the pass rushes and the covers and all those things, and the DBs versus receivers, and you get to go against a different skill set, which is really neat because you get to adjust your skill set to them, your technique. And it's going to be fun to be able to see that and evaluate that.
When you look toward the season and Justin's progression, what gives you hope that he's on the right track to where you want to be?
Just watching the practice. You guys are out there too. You can see it. It's quicker. It's faster. It's more precise. And again, that comes down to his experience and his work ethic. He's worked really hard at it.
Matt, I didn't see DJ Moore practicing a lot, if at all, in the red zone drills. Is there anything to that?
No, nothing to it.
There's been players with a couple different teams that have gotten issues with the league for gambling. Are you comfortable that the messaging you guys have provided your locker room has made it clear to them that hopefully that you guys can avoid those pitfalls?
Yeah, the rules are a little bit, when, where, what, all those things. And we had the league office in here. The league representative was in here yesterday, giving the official gambling presentation. We had him come in early. We thought it was a good time to do that. And we knocked that out yesterday, and it was good. It was a great message from them. It was real simple. It had 6 points of what to do, what not to do, and it was really good.
Matt, I know it's hard without pads on, but through 6 weeks, what's your evaluation of the work Javon's put in, and where is he at in the process?
He's good. He's doing a lot of Pilates. He does a lot of those things. He's working on his lower flexibility. We think that's important for big guys, all the big guys to do. And he's really learning how to take off. At Florida, he was more of a two-gap guy, so he was more square, moving with the offensive lineman, not moving off the movement and the ball, and taking off a takeoff position. So he's working on that. We elongated his stance a little bit to help him do that. And we moved him around a little bit. He's playing, the nose, he's playing 3, so we've moved around some there. And what I like most about him is his hustle. Man, he hustles. And, he's got his track shoes on and he is running out there, which is great to see from a guy who's 3'08", something like that, 6'5". So, it's good to see.
What below the radar guy or guys kind of caught your eye and earned a better shot going into camp just based on the way they embraced the offseason program and made progress in it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys, I wish I would have saw Smitty, the corner more. I was really excited about where he is, and he's going to get back to where he needs to be for sure. But, Rowe, the tailback, halfback, has done a great job of picking things up. And I'm excited to see him in pads because I think he's really going to take off once we get the pads on.
Matt, who's someone that's taken over leadership in the running back room?
Yeah, it's really good because, Khalil's done a great job. Dante's done a good job of really gelling together. Those are both guys that can really, tote the rock, and we're excited to see those guys work together as a pair. And both those guys, I would say, are really stepping up. And Coach Walker does a great job in there, with the leadership and bringing that out, in each individual guy.
Matt,
Stand us in the pass protection there?
Say again?
Any stand us in pass protection
For what?
for running backs?
What about the pass protection?
Are there any stand us for pass
Oh,
protection?
standouts. Yeah, hard to see right now, right? When we get the pads on, we'll get the one-on-ones, and we'll see if guys are stout enough and have a good enough anchor to be able to achieve that.
Matt, you noted last year about establishing a culture within the Bears organization. A year later, from your perspective as coach, how do you think that culture has been established? You also talked about new players coming in. Has it been difficult to maintain that, and where do you think the team is?
No, I think it's been beneficial the second year because we can have our players help with that. So Justin, Mooney, Cole, all those guys can help. Justin Jones, they can all help with that culture, and teaching the guys what we are. And you bring guys in that love football and guys that care about their teammates. Natural like that was Maine. He's TJ, all those guys that love the game. DJ, it's pretty easy, to bring that culture along. And it's really about building the relationships with the guy next to you.
Now, we've seen Larry Borum working at right tackle, a little bit at left tackle.
Mm-hmm.
How's he doing progressing from year one with Chris Morgan to year two? And is he someone who could maybe emerge as like a swing tackle?
Yeah, he's a guy that's in that competition for sure. He's continuing to work on his body, in terms of being a little bit, quicker, a little bit leaner. He's continuing to do that. This will be a big off season for him to be able to work on his movement, jumping to the second level and, and staying and mirroring in front of people in pass protection. So it's going to be a big summer for him. All right, thank you. Have a good summer.